Hi friends, welcome back to my channel, and today I have a video that was inspired by Tamika at Tamika's Library, Izzy from Happy for Now, and May from This Past Romance. They actually did a collab video or collab videos with this idea, and I really enjoyed this idea, so I thought I would do it myself. I will leave their videos down below. Make sure you check them out. Tropes I hate, but in books that I love. So I enjoyed these books. I either loved them or I liked them. They got a range from 3 to 5 stars, but it was a book that I enjoyed enough with a trope that I don't typically like. So first up we have single parent. I don't like single parent. I don't generally like kids in books. I don't really find them to be written all that well, all that believably. They tend, in my eyes, to be plot devices to endear you to whoever the single parent is or create conflict, but Eleanor and Gray did this perfectly. So this is a second chance romance. They were friends when they were kids, and then one of them is forced to move away due to a tragedy in the family, and they come back again, I think 10 or 15 years later, when the hero has lost his wife and needs a nanny for his kids. And watching the two of them form this little found family was just so gorgeous, and I think the kids' inclusion in the story was great because of the things that the hero had endured and the lack of love that the heroine found with her family. I think they came together and made a beautiful little family. So then is Second Chance, which I guess follows the first one as well, but in particular Count Your Lucky Stars is a second chance that very much worked for me. This is a sapphic romance. They hooked up in college, and then they, through a series of miscommunications, ended up separating, and now in the present one of them needs a roommate. They move in together and they have to work through the miscommunication. There is some delightful banter and some sexual activities in this. I would have liked a little bit more character work, but I think that this was a fantastic second chance. The tension of the miscommunication that led them to breaking up and now having their second chance really worked. We then have Friends to Lovers. Now this isn't typically something that works for me. If it's done correctly and there is that full-bodied angst, then I can enjoy it, but typically it's like, why are you guys friends to begin with? Or why aren't you friends enough to be able to communicate to each other that you like each other, I guess? So the thing that I think did this right is The Truth About Heartbreak, and by that I mean this is very, very angsty. This is the romance between a girl and her brother's best friend, and they met when she was 14. And he was, I think, 17. She was adopted by his best friend's family, and they had a very strong friendship. He was very, very protective of her, and they spent a lot of time together. And then once she reached adulthood, I think she was about 22 and he was, you know, in his late 20s, they actually had a one-night stand. However, he had a girlfriend, so the book was spent with them going back and forth and fighting their feelings for each other, and despite this being a Friends to Lovers, the angst was just on point. We then have sports romances. These are not really my thing. I find them to be all the same with not any of the interesting plots that I'm looking for in a romance. But Bad Boys Break Hearts did it right. I enjoyed this sports romance. Hero is on the baseball team, and the heroine is someone that he knew when he was a kid. She's new to the college, and after a hookup with his best friend and roommate, he becomes incredibly jealous. He kind of bullies her a little bit, and they eventually form this friendship that becomes more. They feel this draw to each other, and it just worked out very well. Most sports romances, I don't really find the tension to be there. I find them to be very linear. This was definitely not the case. Maybe it was the bullying for me, who knows? But I found their tension and the romance to be enjoyable, believable, and angsty. So all the things that I'm looking for. We then have the office romances, and I'm gonna cheat a little bit because I don't think anybody would technically call this an office romance. It's not pitched as an office romance, but it's The Duchess Hunt, and this is about a woman who is working in an office with her boss, and she's trying to find him a wife. It's a historical romance, and they end up falling for each other, and it's delightful, and I like this whole series, and it's angsty, and it's an office romance, okay? Next up we have Small Town Romance. Again, I am a very angsty bitch. I want angst for days. I want the crazy subplots. I want the darkness. I need it. I want it to tear me apart. And small town romances, I don't really find that to be the general feeling around small town romances. They're very like fun and cozy, and that's not really my thing. However, Taste of Her Own Medicine, fantastic small town romance. This is about a woman who is attempting to assert some independence after she is separated from her husband, and she takes an entrepreneur class in the hopes of opening her own business, and she meets the professor who they have a relationship, and she wants to open a like lotions and potions, that's what it's called, shop, and all of her sisters live in this town. It's just a fun little small town romance that I really enjoyed, despite it being not my typical read. And probably one of my biggest pet peeves that will make me DNF a story almost immediately as soon as I discover it: early hookups. I think it pops tension so quickly. I think once the couple has actually gotten together, I rarely ever find that the angst in the relationship maintains itself. Even if they've just gotten together and they have to separate, once that like intimacy level or intimacy line has been crossed, I just don't really root for their relationship anymore. Like, I don't feel like there's any real angst there because they've hooked up once, we know they're gonna do it again, and for me, part of the tension is like that will they, won't they? And they already have, so they will. But something that did this right is Her Knight for the Duke. This is a historical romance, and in the beginning of the book, a woman is traveling to her stepdaughter's engagement party, and she's staying at an inn, and she hooks up with a guy at the inn, and it ends up being her stepdaughter's betrothed, and it's delightful. It's full of angst, obviously, and the story I found was carried well enough by the intrigue of the heroine herself around her desire to be an author and to explore the world, her relationship with her stepdaughter, and the angst around the relationship between her and her stepdaughter's betrothed. So I found it to be plenty tension filled for me, and I recommend. And then everybody's hated trope is miscommunication. I think the reason that people hate the miscommunication trope is the conflict that it creates is as easy as talking to someone. And the idea of having a romance and a romantic relationship is you want to be able to talk to your partner and work through the issues that you have. However, a story that is rife with the miscommunication trope that I absolutely adored is Ivy. This is a new adult romance about a woman who moves to a private school, and she rooms with two other women, and it is following their three points of view of their romances, and pretty much every single conflict in this story, of which there are many, is based on the miscommunication trope. But I just found it delightful and messy and very Gossip Girl-esque. So if you're looking for a miscommunication that just works, I would say pick this one up. And then the last trope that I don't really like is kind of specific, and that is the marriage of convenience trope, but in contemporary romances. I just don't really find them that interesting. It's a particular favorite in the mafia genre or subgenre, and I just don't really like them all that much. Most of the time I find that the marriage of convenience is due to the hero in contemporary romances, is due to the hero being involved in the mafia or something like that, and the heroine is always this meek and mild heroine that just kind of sits in the sidelines and doesn't really do anything. But a contemporary romance that I think did the marriage of convenience thing very well is Zenny. This is not a mafia romance. It is just a bog standard contemporary romance. It's about two people who have to get married because her great aunt and his best friend leave them an inheritance, but the will says that they have to be married for, I think, 60 days in order for them to get their inheritance. And this is just oh beautiful. We have two bisexual main characters, we have pegging, we have beautiful open communication and mutual attraction and mutual pining that is just so open, and they're very, very communicative with each other. And I think that's what makes this work, is they're on equal footing, they're on the same wavelength sexually, physically, mentally, emotionally, all of that. They're on the same wavelength, and they work very, very well together. And it just is it's an all-time favorite, but definitely a favorite of this trope. So those are the tropes that I hate in books that I love. recommendations that I have for you. Let me know down in the comments tropes that you hate in books that you love. I would love to hear it. If you don't have anything to say, leave a star emoji down in the comments, and I will catch you guys in my next one. Thanks so much for watching.